Hello, everyone. It is, I think, February 24th, Thursday, about 3 p.m., the holy hour, the hour in which we remember our crucified Lord. Sorry, there's some strange noises in my neighborhood right now. It's beautiful out. It's about almost 80 degrees here in February, so usually we'll get like a week or so in February where it's beach weather, and obviously I'm a little sunburned because I just came back from the beach. So I wanted to offer listen, people are starting to, I hope, at least entertain the fact that the West, as we know it, Europe combines with Canada and America, the United States, might not be as invincible as we once thought her to be. And what is the West? Well, the West really is Christendom, right? It is the society that the church has really influenced. The church has really built, the Catholic Church. And that's not debatable. That's history. So whether you're a Protestant or you're something else, it really doesn't matter. These are facts. The Catholic Church played an instrumental role in the Western society as we know it. And so we have largely been successful and, rulers of the world, so to speak, because of that. That is the only reason. And so in recent years, the trend among the West is to be more progressive and to throw off the yoke of God, so to speak, and to not follow his laws. And not even that, but to celebrate sin, to have sinful parades through our streets, to pass abortion bills, and vote on abortion bills in which the murder and the child sacrifice is now legal, and all kinds of things. I mean, the list goes on and on, right? To give out free contraception. I mean, just sin after just throwing it all in God's face, being ungrateful for the blessings that we have gotten. And a reckoning is coming. And that's really all I have to say about it. Whether that means the end of the world or not, I don't know. But I do know a reckoning is coming, because God will not be mocked. We are not going to go on like this. We're not going to pretend to be Christian while living in, pagan ways. I mean, that's really what it is. So in my last video, I talked about Pluto, the return of Pluto, and how we have entered into that period according to the pagans now. And it will last for 2 years, and it'll be this destruction and this rebirth. And Pluto is also tied to wealth as well, ironically. And so really what it is, people call it the New World Order, but there's nothing new about it. It's the pagan world order. It's the same battle that's been going on since the beginning of time. It's the pagans trying to overtake Christendom, but Christendom doesn't even know who we are. Like, we don't even understand that that's our roots, because why? Well, secularization of education and things like this have cut us off from our history. And so now we're involved in this battle, and we're not fighting it because we don't even know we're in a battle. But as time goes on, and as more things start to happen, and as we are chastised more and more, these chastisements are nothing but God trying to shake us awake and remember who we are, to try to, to try to inspire people to search for some truth, to search for God, to get back to our roots. And sometimes you have to go into the desert and be stripped of everything in order to remember who you are. And so people like me and people like, faithful Catholics everywhere, and the people especially, that watch this channel and things like that, not that I'm special, I'm a sinner just like everybody else. But we have an instrumental role in the fact that we will be able to offer solutions, because there is only one solution. The only solution is that we return back to God. There's no political solution. There's no worldly solution. It's a spiritual battle, and it must be addressed spiritually. It must be addressed in the hearts of men. The Immaculate Heart of Mary must triumph in the hearts of men, and then there will be peace. That's what that means. So we will have an instrumental role, especially those consecrated to Mary, the children of Mary, of bringing that about. In how are we going to do that? It's not going to be by war, taking up arms, anything like this. It's going to be living a holy life and inspiring others to do the same. And reminding people, quite frankly, reminding the West, reminding our brothers and sisters of who we are, where we come from, and where we need to return back to. And so I want to take the time to do that today, and given the events that are taking place in Ukraine. And I just want to say my opinion on that really doesn't matter, but don't believe the official Western narrative, and don't believe Russia's narrative either. The truth is somewhere in the middle, but Russia's not, obviously, it's not good what they're doing, but they were provoked by globalists, by satanic individuals. But it's part of the plan. Like, that's what they want, right? They want to bring about this destruction of the old world order, what they consider, you know, what it's really Christendom. They want to annihilate that and bring about their utopia, which they call the Great Reset, the New Order. But really what it is the kingdom of darkness. It's the kingdom of the Antichrist. Whether they know that or not, I don't know. I'm assuming they probably do, given most of them do actively worship false gods. I don't know. I don't know if they think they're doing a good thing. Not really sure. Don't really care. But they don't have the truth. So that's the main thing. So I want to talk about what proactive solutions. Obviously, I always talk about praying the Rosary. Pray the Rosary. That is the solution we've been given. Obviously, it will help you lead a holy life. It will help you work for Mary in a way. So it will enlighten your intellect. It's a powerful weapon. And I want to read about what happened at Ground Zero in Hiroshima, Japan in 1945. And this is from the book, The Rosary, A Weapon for Spiritual Warfare by Janet Benkovic and Thomas Sullivan. The words of Our Lady of Fatima are prophetic. Just as she predicted, a much greater war came in 1939 and would continue until 1945. And just as she predicted, a gigantic unknown light preceded what would come to be known as the Second World War. As reported by the New York Times on January 25, 1938, throughout Europe, the night sky was lit with a gigantic aurora that terrified thousands of people. From an airplane, the paper reported, the sky looked like a shimmering curtain of fire. During the final stage of World War II, the United States dropped atomic bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, killing and wounding tens of thousands of people. In the midst of the unprecedented devastation and destruction, a miracle involving the Rosary occurred at Ground Zero in Hiroshima. On the morning of August 6, 1945, at 8:15 a.m., Father Hubert Schiffer and 7 other Jesuits were sitting down to breakfast at their rectory in Hiroshima. Suddenly, a terrific explosion filled the air with one bursting thunder stroke. The priest said, "An invisible force lifted me from the chair, hurled me through the air, shook me, battered me, whirled me round and round like a leaf in a gust of autumn wind." When his eyes opened, Father Schiffer was lying outside on the ground. Dazed, he looked around and saw that, except for the rectory behind him, not a single building on the block was left standing. Although they didn't realize it at the time, Father Schiffer and his fellow priests had just survived the blast of the world's first atomic bomb. Miraculously, the priests suffered only minor injuries, even though the rectory was a mere kilometer from the center of the blast. Many who were close to the epicenter were simply vaporized by the intensity of the heat. Others were severely burned or were crushed in the collapse of buildings. Many would die later of radiation poisoning. When they comprehended the magnitude of the miracle that had happened, Father Schiffer and his fellow priests knew why they were spared. "We believed that we survived because we were living the message of Fatima, and we lived and prayed the Rosary daily in that home," he said. As if in confirmation, the Franciscan friary in Nagasaki, established by St. Maximilian Kolbe, was also unharmed in an atomic blast that destroyed the city a few days later. The friars were also devoted to the daily Rosary. Divine Providence had led St. Maximilian to build the friary in a location that protected it from the full force of the blast. And so I know it sounds like a broken record, you know, these crazy Catholics talking about praying the Rosary every day, but we're saying it for a reason. We're saying it because there is no worldly solution. There is no president that's going to fix this. And in a lot of ways, America kind of isn't part of Christendom, okay? Like, Christendom at its core really is Europe. But there are a lot of Catholics that live in this country. And we're kind of in a weird spot here in America. Our founders were obviously not Catholic. The early settlers There were many early settlers who were Catholics that got pushed to the back pages of the history books. In fact, America has always had a Catholic influence, and some could say it was even founded, obviously, by Christopher Columbus, a Catholic. But they kind of got pushed to the back, and there was a very anti-Catholic Puritan agenda here for a very long time that we can still see. But anyway, that's not the point. Is it claims to be, a good number of Christians here, whether they be Catholic or Protestant. And so we have to share stories like this because as Catholics, we do have the solutions to our problems. We have to live it out is the problem. And we have to encourage and inspire others to live it out as well. And that's hard to do, especially when people hate you for your beliefs. I get it. Trust me, I do. But we have to stay strong, and we have to ask God for the grace to be able to stay strong and to have courage and to not give in to fear and to not shut ourselves off and, curl into the fetal position to protect ourselves, because that's not what we're called to do as Christians. So I hope to share more encouraging stories as the times get worse, because they will, make no mistake about it. But there's a certain joy that comes with it, because in a way, it's a relief. It's a relief to see that things are changing, and yes, they're going to get worse. I don't know what's going to come out of it. I don't know if it's the end of the world, but it's a relief to see that we can't go on like this. Something has to be done. We can't go on murdering babies. They just introduced the most pro-abortion bill in the history of anywhere into the Senate. They're supposed to be voting on that. I'll post a link below. There is a petition put together by the U.S. bishops that you could sign. But basically, it's totally just running over states' rights, saying states don't have a right to outlaw abortion. They want abortion paid for by tax dollars on demand with no limitations nationwide. That's what this bill is saying. And they're disguising it under women's reproductive health or some nonsense. It's so crazy. It's just so satanic. And I shouldn't be laughing, but these people really, I don't know what to do with them, other than pray for them, because it's crazy. It's just crazy town out there right now. And it can't go on like this, and it's not going to. And so the more things get worse, the more people are going to be looking for answers. They're going to be looking for truth. And as Catholics, we have a duty to present that truth to them, because we have the fullness of the truth. We have the entire truth as given from God himself. So, Godspeed. Joan of Arc Media out.